welcome to, yes, a very, very exciting edition of State on the Nation on Srtv. My name is KRIS, and I'm reaching you all the way right here in London. Today is a great day because I have a special guest in the studio. And what do we really do here? We try to examine where we are as a people, where we're coming from, where are we, and where we're going. Are we heading in the right direction as a nation? That's some of the things we'll be looking at today. And my guest is a very, very, he's well selected for tonight. It's Dr. IGBUZOR. He's the founding executive director for the Center for African Studies, Strategies, and Development. He's right here in the studio with me. I'm sure he's going to, if I make any mistake, sometimes I make mistake with the names. That's what KRIS does best. But let's meet Doctor right here, right now. Doctor, you're welcome. Welcome to...
Thank you very much. Yes, my name is OTIVE IGBUZOR, the founding executive director of the African Center for Leadership, Strategy, and Development, Center, LSD.
Good. He's a founding executive director for Center for African Studies for Leadership, Strategies, and Development. Am I right now, sir?
No, you put African Studies. It's African Center for Leadership, Strategy, and Development. Yeah.
Now, you see, I'm going to try and write this down so that you guys got it before we leave the show. But yeah, right here. Doctor is here. You see, when you see Doctor correcting me, now you know where we are up again. So tighten your seatbelt because we are in for a ride. Doctor, we start straight from the first thing you do, which is leadership. Leadership. Over the years, in fact, let me quote Chinua Achebe. He said the problem of Nigeria, that of Africa, is that of one thing, that of leadership, that we've not really been able to get it right. Let's go on a quick memory lane. I'm going to bring in three people. Let's just bring them right on the screen. In the Kai Guides, we used to sing, Obasanjo Loto, Yaraduwa Loto, good luck, Jonathan. You understand? Jonathan Loto, Buhari Loto, Tinubu Day. Now we are with Tinubu, sir. We've gone on this journey to these people. Are we heading in the right direction? Let's look at this. Is there something that is missing? Obasanjo came. He gave us something special. He was able to clear our debt. And it looks as if we're on the right track to progress. It's like Nigeria is moving. Maybe I'm wrong. A lot of good initiatives came out right then. We don't want to go back. Now, Yar'Adua came. His time was short. We have a very intelligent man in the name of Goodluck Jonathan. He's the first graduate to rule Nigeria state. And now, we got Buhari. Today is Tinubu. Doctor, are we heading? Have we made progress? Have we been able to sustain the gains? Or maybe it's me. I want to know, Doctor, where are we?
Okay, so I think that we've made some progress, but the progress is not good enough. Like you correctly stated, Chinua Achebe in his book, The Trouble with Nigeria, stated clearly that the trouble with Nigeria is squarely that of failure of leadership. He further stated that there is nothing wrong with the water, with the air, and with the climate of Nigeria. And that actually there is nothing wrong with the character of Nigeria. But the problem is that of leadership. And we know that scholars have documented that everything rises and falls on leadership. But from my experience and work, it appears to me that Nigeria's problem of leadership is squarely that of political leadership.
Okay.
Because in other sectors, Nigerians are providing leadership to the world. At the United Nations, Amina Mohammed is the Deputy Secretary General of the United Nations and doing Nigeria proud. At the World Trade Organization, Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala is the Director General and doing Nigeria proud. At the African Development Bank, Dr. Adeshino is the president and doing Nigeria proud. Before a few months ago, Dr. Osahoy Nabulele was the world president of World Medical Association. He did Nigeria proud. From 2018 to 2022, Comrade Ayuba Waba was the president of International Confederation of Trade Unions all over the world. He did Nigeria proud. Okay. If you look at the richest people in Africa, 3 of them are Nigerians, and they are doing Nigeria proud. One of the worst institutions in Nigeria in terms of performance and corruption is the Nigerian police force. But whenever the Nigerian police force goes on international assignments, they do Nigeria proud and come back with medals.
True.
But when it comes to the political arena, there is a huge challenge with leadership. And, you know, when we talk about leadership, we must not equate it only with positional leadership in terms of the head of state, as has been showed earlier. Because leadership, when you talk about political leadership, there is leadership at the federal level, there is leadership at the state level, and there is leadership at the local government level.
Agree.
And I want to ask you, those of you listening to us, and even those of you in the studio, who is the chairman of APC and PDP in your ward? What does it do? What kind of things? So, and my argument has been that part of the problems is that decent people, God-fearing people, professionals, development experts have refused to participate in politics in Nigeria because of the conception that politics is a dirty game. But we are reminded by philosophers like Plato, who warned us that if you refuse to participate in politics, you will be ruled by your inferiors.
Exactly. And
Edmund Burke stated that for evil to triumph is for good men to do nothing.
Thank you, sir.
Franz Fanon further argued that the future will have no pity for those men and women who, possessing the exceptional privilege of being able to speak the words of truth to their oppressors, have taken refuge in attitude of passivity, of mute indifference, and in some cases of cold complicity. Franz Fanon further warned that every onlooker is either a coward or a traitor. And so, if you look at the presidents that you have outlined, from Tafawa Balewa to Shehu Shagari to Abacha to Basanjo to Yaradua, and you know, Obasanjo was called back. They looked at the whole country and said, and nobody can say people are called Obasanjo back. Yeah. We saw how Buhari ruled the country from 1983 to 1984. Yes. Yet, they called him back. That is the only one. So, we have a huge challenge with political leadership. And to solve that challenge is not just at the top. At every level, citizens need to engage with the political process.
Okay. So would you say, listen, I'm sure, listen, if you're just joining us, be ready. Put your pen down and write. Put your pen down and write, because Doctor is here with me today. Doctor, is it right then to say that, you use the right word, evil is triumphing in our society because righteous men are busy doing nothing?
Right? Yes, that's the point I've made.
Yes, sir.
Because that is clearly the point I've made.
But definitely it's not, we don't have shortage of human resources. The caliber of human beings have excelled in all sectors of life, like you've explained to us and like you've just analyzed. But anytime we have somebody that we know is looking at, that has the capability, to run the affairs of the country, they seem not to give him a chance. Is it true then to say that some people have hijacked political leadership in Nigeria?
You know, political power is not served a la carte. It's always hijacked by the most powerful forces in society. And that's the point we are making. That, if you look at the trajectory of Nigerians' development from independence in 1960 to the coup in 1966, and then to return to the Second Republic in 1979 to 83, and then the aborted Third Republic from 1992, and then the Fourth Republic in 1999. If you look at the trajectory, you will see that in 1999, there was a strategic error. Many activists, many committed people did not believe the Abdul Salami transition because it was hurried, it was less than 1 year, and from the experience of the endless transition and the dribbling by General Ibrahim Babangida, many people did not participate. In fact, as activists we met at that time and we decided that we will not participate. So what happened? In the first Senate, a retired AIG, Senator Nuhu Aliyu, stood up on the floor of the Senate and he said he's surprised by the kind of people you see in the Senate because all of them were criminals and he has investigated them before. So,
All right. Yes.
Yeah, no, I'm saying it because he said it on the floor of the Senate. In fact, when he said it, he was suspended by his colleagues for saying that.
Yes.
And so what I'm trying to say is that from that 1999, we made that error. It was later that people knew that this is error and they tried to correct it. So it was later you find out that people like Femi Falana decided to contest in Ekiti State. People like Festus Keyamu and myself decided to contest in Delta State. But at that time, they have seized every structure and it's much more difficult now. But we have to pass through that difficult route. It will continue to be difficult, but until we have a critical mass of good people. In fact, if you look throughout history and you see any society that has accelerated development, you must find a group of people that we call a developmentalist coalition, a group of people that are committed to developing the country, a group of people that have a clear vision and mission for the country, a group of people that come together and pursue that vision. Until you have that group of committed people, the society cannot see development. We don't have that group today in Nigeria. That is why one of the major advocacy that some of us are doing is to encourage people, religious people, business people, good people, godly people, to participate in politics. It's only clean people that can clean out the dirty politics that we have. If good people, if decent people continue to avoid policies, it will be dominated by dirty people, people whose only idea and reason for participation in politics is accumulation of wealth and personal aggrandizement. When you have that, society cannot develop. And like we mentioned earlier, Nigeria has people. Nigeria has dedicated people, professionals all over the world, in the NGO sector, in medicine, in pharmacy, in media, just name it, in the United Nations system, international non-governmental organizations, you see Nigerians doing well. So Nigerians can provide good political leadership if we see it. If you look at the elections in Nigeria, look at the election that just took place in Edo State. The turnout is less than 30%.
It's not.
So theoretically, 70% of the population did not participate in the election. So democracy is supposed to be ruled by majority, but what we are having today across Nigeria is a minority. Can you imagine a population of over 200 million people? The number of votes our president had was less than 9 million to become president of a country of over 200 million people. So politics is number one. If we want to solve the leadership problem, if we want to solve the development problem in Nigeria, we must solve the problem of political leadership. Unfortunately for us, there is sufficient knowledge today on what needs to be done to develop any country. Just mention it. Security, education, agriculture, infrastructure, whatever problem of drug abuse, whatever problem is confronting society, what needs to be done is known. For instance, take the issue of food insecurity. What is the challenge? The challenge is low yield. So the challenge, and how do you deal with it? Cultivate more land, have input, provide fertilizers, deal with post-harvest losses, have agro industries that can process, and you have solved agricultural problem. Security problem, what do you need to do? Today, what is needed is not people carrying guns everywhere. It's intelligence-led policing and community policing, neighborhood participation, and then with ICT in technology. So what needs to be done in every sector is no. Is it education? Up to today, my brother, they are still teaching our children that Mongo Park discovered River Niger.
I know.
What is the meaning of discover? Discover is to find something that is not known. River Niger has been with Lokoja people. So Mongo Park couldn't have discovered River Niger. So what needs to be known? Curriculum development, access to education, quality education, relevant education, connecting education to entrepreneurship, and bringing things for lead to better quality of life. So what I'm saying is that what needs to be done in every sector is known. And the manpower responsible for that is resident in Nigeria.
All right. And so, in other words, because I'm going to move to the next sector, but let's take a look at this man again. Obasanjo will know he's a military man. That's how he managed to get there. Thank God, Yar'Adua was a graduate, but he didn't stay that long. And that would have been a progression. And Goodluck Jonathan is Dr. Goodluck Jonathan. We assume we have a doctor, somebody, a lecturer, running the affairs of the country. We put us in a kind of safe hand. Then we fall back to the era now where issue is always certificate. Baba is said not to have a certificate. I'm talking about Buhari now. And then the Tinubu time, it's only cry whether there is even certificate somewhere, whether he graduated, whether he did not. In a country where we have intellectuals, like you rightly mentioned, should Nigeria be shopping for a candidate? Is it, like you rightly said, the elites or the qualified men has got it wrong? Because we cannot go to the bedroom and say, come and contest. You have to come out and tell us what you can do, because I'm very sure if Nigerians listen to the right message like you just given to me, they will go for it. So what do we need to do to encourage those who can run the affairs of the country, let me use that word, to come out and participate in politics? Because that will be the starting point. If we have them, then they have the strategy of getting us to work. So you will agree with me that there has been no election in Nigeria because the electorate, let's go back to the last election, you rightly said, the now president did not even participate in the debate, so we didn't even get the time to hear from him. What kind of campaign was that? So there was no debate, the presidential level. Even at the state level, in Delta State, there was no debate. So these are the kind of people that put themselves forward. I want to use the word from El-Rufai. El-Rufai said, nobody will give you power, you take it. Now, and he gave an instance that Miss Nigeria today is not the most beautiful woman in Nigeria. Probably the most beautiful girl in Nigeria is in somebody's house as a housewife, but the Miss Nigeria is among those that came out to contest. So, and this act, we need to get the right people to come and contest. That is the beginning. How do we get them from their slumber? And that's why I'm going to use it now, because when you see now, like you rightly said, thank God you quoted Srtv. You said, if you don't participate in politics, your inferior will be your leader. And that's what we have today. The affairs of the state, we're going to go back to Delta State now. We had serious issue of a Boriwari certificate. I'm sorry to bring that in because I'm going to bring them all in as we move along. We have issue of certificate in 21st century Nigeria. Are we looking for candidates, for qualified people to run the affairs of the state, or these are the only qualified? Why were we dancing around these same people, these people now? And perhaps it's because the right people refuse to come out. Would you agree, sir?
Yes, thank you very much. I think I agree with you completely. The right people refuse to come out. And I think that there are two main things that we need to do. The first is citizen enlightenment, awareness creation, consciousness raising, and organization. So, and I think that's why I must commend you what the Srtv is doing by bringing knowledge to the citizens. Because there are 3 phases that citizens go through for them to become agents of change in any country. As you bring this information to citizens, their awareness will increase. Then from the stage of awareness, they will come to the stage of consciousness. The stage of consciousness is when citizens are not just aware of what is going wrong, but they know that they can do something to bring about change. And then the final stage is organizing for change, where they will now form groups, join groups to organize to change society. If you look across the world, changes to society occur through 2 means. They occur either through evolution or they occur through revolution. And you can see many countries, examples of countries. In Rwanda, they moved from genocide to a part of development.
That's true. In
Singapore, with strategic leadership, with development planning, with integrity and foresight, from 3rd world to 1st world. If you look at the developed countries, if you look at America development came from the American struggle for independence. If you go to France, you see the France Revolution.
Yes.
If you go to Russia, you see the Bolshevik Revolution that took place in 1917, led by the Bolsheviks and the Communist Party in Russia. And after a period of 3 decades, Russia moved from an agrarian country to a world power. And if you look at other countries like Cuba, had 11 people to attack the Moncada barracks. And it took them another 5 years, in 1959, to bring the Cuban Revolution. And today, the statistics of Cuba is comparable to, in terms of human development, is comparable to developed countries. So yes, countries can develop through either evolution or through revolution. And it's the people that are the agents of development of any country. So what we need to do is to raise their awareness, raise their consciousness and capacity for organizing. The second thing is the recruitment process, the leadership recruitment process. The leadership recruitment process today is faulty. It's structured in a way that godfathers dominate. It's structured in a way that political heavyweights determine who ascends positions of authority. And unfortunately, instead of following the principle used by people like Lee Kuan Yew read that book from third world to first world, they will deliberately bring a young minister to understudy an old minister and then grow. Lee Kuan Yew, they made it compulsory. Every person with first class was absorbed into the public.
Okay,
and
for
so,
some reason,
you know, the leadership recruitment process has to be changed. And let's be clear, as you are, power is not served a la carte. Power is struggled for. And studies have shown are either incapable or unwilling to bring about fundamental changes in society. So it changes. But we must note, you know, at times we look at things and we think that things are so bad. No, generally we have made progress. When I make this argument, many people want to, they don't like it.
You. Yeah, they
don't like it. But the reality, let me explain. The reality is that we have made progress across the world. My brother, let me tell you, the political leadership we see today that is elected in every country of the world through elections started all over the world in the 18th century. From the 1st century to the 17th century, how were people being led? You know, they were with monarchy, where they claim that the people.
We have that story, yeah.
And then at that time, people are not citizens, they were subjects. They had no rights. So we have made progress. There was even a time in the 4th century AD, you know, when the Roman Empire was in power, and when Christianity was adopted as the official religion of the state. And at that time, there was no Islam because Muhammad was not born then. What you were having was that the bishop of a place is the governor of the place, until there was a movement to separate the church from the state. So what I'm trying to say is that there has been progress in terms of democracy. And as of today, we are agreed that democracy is the best form of government. And in Nigeria, we have also improved. In the First Republic, in the 1965 Western region elections, you know, the major party in the West was Action Group.
Action Group, yes. All over. Okay. The network,
the party of Akintola, they were declaring his candidates unopposed when Action Group were the main. So we have made progress. And in 2007, we were still in queue in Delta State when Iwu declared the results in Abuja. So there has been progress, you know, in our electoral register. Michael Jackson was there.
I know.
Tyson was there. All of those things have been cleaned up. The progress is not fast enough, but we are making progress. Even if you look at life expectancy, 10 years ago, life expectancy in Nigeria was 44 years. But today, life expectancy is 54 years. It's not good enough because there are countries like Japan where the life expectancy is over 80 years. In South Africa, it's over 60 years. So it's not good enough. But what I'm saying is that we are making progress. And the way forward is for us to continue to organize, to create awareness, to create consciousness, to organize for change, and to challenge the leadership recruitment process by decent people, God-fearing people, development experts, business people participating in politics.
Yeah, Doctor, for some reason, the network is not very friendly on your end. So I'm not, we hear your voice clearly, but I can't see your video. It's not moving that well. And it's really,
sorry,
really
I can't hear you. I can't hear you. The line is...
Can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now, yeah.
All right. I said your network, we can't see your video clearly enough. And it's a little bit of a challenge here because we want to see your face, Doctor, because you're teaching us and you are giving us an amazing lecture. Because I was going to ask you a very, very important question, a very important one that really touched my soul. Yes, thank you. And I can see you now, Doctor. Now, Nigerians, let's put it this way. we're very religious people, meaning we believe in what we believe. And we believe in anything, we do our best. Let me use the church, for instance. On Sundays, most of Nigerians will go to church, and when the man speak, they put hand in their pocket and they contribute willingly. And even in the those of us who are Muslims, we go to mosque on Friday, the imam speak, we are happy to contribute to society. But when it comes to politics, I'm not talking of people participation. We don't see that kind of zeal from the people. They are not that interested. I mean, you don't see people go and say, oh, because this man's idea is good, I want to contribute to it. Why is that? Because if I can go to church on Sunday, the pastor preach something good for me, and I put my hand in pocket and I contribute by paying my offering, why am I reluctant to contribute to a campaign that will actually relieve me, or that can free myself and my children from trouble right here on earth? We believe in God to come, and we don't believe in the God now. Why is it so, Doctor?
Well, you know, the reason is quite clear. Like I said earlier, people move from awareness to consciousness, from consciousness to organizing for change. You will recall that also in this country, there are some people who are very political conscious.
Yes, I agree.
I know that many people have criticized religion. They've criticized the church. That the church talks about a lot of things. People go to church on Sunday, they go to mosque on Friday, but from Monday to Friday offices, they do a different thing. My response has always been that close your eyes for 2 minutes and imagine that there are no mosques, and imagine that there are no churches.
No church in Nigeria.
Imagine that nobody talks about righteousness.
Yes.
Imagine that nobody talks against corruption. Imagine that nobody talks about fornication, that nobody talks about adultery. Then you can imagine what society will have had. That in spite of all of this, we still have these problems. But that's why I've argued that what needs to be done is to mobilize people. When people are conscious of, when they know that their destiny is tied with political leadership, when they know that they can make a contribution to make a difference. In fact, many people today think why they don't go to vote is that they think their votes will not count.
Yes.
But in the hands of the bad people, because the few people there will begin to do mago-mago. So that is why the major thing we need to do is political education. When people know that politics is important, well, for some of us, that's why we participate in politics. We are not participating in politics because we want to benefit anything. We are not participating in politics because we want to go and steal money. Some of us, God has already blessed us. And, you know, I tell people that the type of life I live today, I didn't know when I was growing up that it existed. So I'm in my Maslow's 5th stage of self-actualization. Participate in politics because I want to change society. I participate in politics because I know I have a contribution to make. Yes. I participate in politics in spite of the dirtiness, but I go there with clean heart, and I do not participate in their dirty things. So we need more people like that to participate in politics so that we clean it up. Until we have that critical mass, we will not have significant progress in Nigeria.
Doctor, that is very important. And I'm going to try and go on a break, and hopefully the system will get better. Otherwise, I wanted to ask the next one, which is really burning. Maybe it is high time we bring out the Roman system where the church is and the mosque becomes an integral part of governance, because people can kind of now believe in something. When I went to do teaching at the training course, they say from known to unknown. Since we already have people believing in a system which is in God, in the worship of God, which is religion, which come to us in Christianity and Islam at the moment, maybe there is an easier way to transit, to convince them to say, hey, maybe these are the right people also, to tell them that, hey, guys, God is going to do it, but there is a solution here on earth for you. This is where to go. Don't you think that religion now need to play more part in educating our people in terms of participation?
But we have passed the stage of theocracy. We have passed the stage where religious people will be in charge of political power. If you look at the history of the church, you will know what happened. Even the history of religion itself. There was a time where there is an official religious position that anybody who preaches against that official religious position is called blasphemy. Yes. And the penalty is death. Yes. As of today, if you look at some of those preachings, you will just laugh. Some of them included that when you are taking communion, that communion you are taking is the actual blood of Jesus Christ. And if you preach anything against that, it's heresy and you are killed.
In fact,
there were that time, you are not allowed to put the scriptures in the hand of people. There were a lot of people, great Christian leader, William Tyndale, and many people who were persecuted, some of them killed, because they said that the Bible should be made available to the generality of the people. So we cannot go back. As a matter of fact, the society has tested different types of government. Monarchy, autocracy, they've tried theocracy. Yes. So, but we have come to the conclusion that this form of government is democracy. But what kind of democracy? What is the relationship between democracy and development? How do we do democracy so that it will bring dividends of democracy, that it will bring development? How do we do democracy so that what we have across the world today, the elite capture of the state, where a group of few elite have captured the state and they make policies for the benefit of the rich? In a country like Nigeria, where majority of people are poor, you will expect that all policies will be geared towards the favor of poor people. And if you even look at recent history, in 2014, the largest number of poor people in the world was in India, followed by China. Remember that the population of China and India is about 1.4, 1.5 billion, while the population of Nigeria is about 200 million. So population of Nigeria is about 1/7
of those countries,
of the population of India and China. But by 2014, the highest number of poor people in the world was in India, followed by China, and Nigeria was in the 3rd position. But from 2000 to 2013, a period of 13 years, China lifted 713 million people out of poverty. India lifted 170 million people out of poverty. With those things, Nigeria became, with a small population compared to India and China, but was hosting the largest number of poor people in the world. How did India and China do this? 3 things. Number 1 is enlightened leadership. Number 2 is active citizenry. And number 3 is social protection policies. So there are policies that can be made. So if government is structured properly, then the machinery of government, the budget, and everything will be structured to deliver services to the people. And the policies will be such that it will deliver to the majority of people.
Doctor, thank you so much. In fact, I'm going to talk about your social idea, but listen, let me just say, I'm going to see if we can go on a break, Doctor. why you try and see if your system now is clear. I don't want to go away once I can see you, because it has been hanging, and now I have you. If I have you, then I want to stay, doctor. So, doctor, let's go back. Let's come down to Nigeria. See, because I still want to look at the past, the present, and where we are. Now, there's this school of thought in Nigeria that say, hey, when we were 4 regions, that the northern region, the western region, the midwestern region, and the eastern region, that Nigeria was actually better. And again, I wanted to see the advantage, and that was the true federalism. I agree. But now we're 37 regions. I want to put it, I don't call them states. There are 37 regions who have the capability to do what they were doing then. But they said they are limited, that every power is now in the central. But does the being power in the central really stop development at the state level? And that is one question that I really want you to help us. Where are we getting this wrong? Do we need to go back to giving all the power to the states, or the state can actually work with what we have?
Okay, yes. The question of the structure of the federation is a key one. And, you know, the founding fathers agreed, in line with international best practices, that when you have a heterogeneous country like Nigeria with over 250 ethnic groups, the best form of government is a federal system of government. And that was why all the conferences, the 1954 conference in London, the 1959 conference in London, all agreed that the federal system is the system that should be used. And that was why from the 1946 Richards Constitution to the 1951 Macpherson Constitution to the 1954 Littleton Constitution to the 1960 Independent.
Doctor, I am Doctor. You
Republican Constitution.
I'm with you, doctor. I'm with you.
You know, all of these constitutions establish federalism, but with military takeover in 1966, one of the things that Agoyin Rossi brought was to bring a unitary system of government. And the military promoted that unitary system of government, started dividing the country into states, and that's where we have what we have today. So the change from civilian to military rule was largely responsible for the kind of unitary system of government that we have. And the 1999 Constitution, you will recall, was promulgated as a decree by the military government. And at that time, everyone, both conservative and traditional rulers, civil society, religious people, businessmen, civil society, all of them criticized the 1999 Constitution as an imposition. And you will expect that since it's an imposition, the civilian administration will quickly come together and produce a people's constitution.
Yes.
But I would like to let you know that since then we have been advocating for a fundamental reform of the Constitution. But from 1999 to 2011, a period of 12 years, we were not able to change one sentence from the Constitution that everybody had criticized. And that is why since then, this policy of piecemeal approach to review of the Constitution. And like I said earlier, it goes with international recognition that the ruling elite are unwilling or incapable of bringing fundamental reforms. So the civilians, when they took the military constitution, because they have gotten power, they were not interested in fundamentally changing the constitution. That is why today the kind of federalism, although I belong to the school of thought which argues that there is no one true federalism. Federalism has to be contextualized. The federal system in Germany is different from the federal system in India, is different from the federal system in Switzerland. But the important thing is that a heterogeneous country should have a federal system where there is a central government and, you know, the federating units that have coordinate powers. But the problem with the federal system in Nigeria is that it's centralized. In other federal systems, the states collect their revenue and pay taxes to the federal government. But here, because of the political economy of oil is the major mainstay of the country. That is why the federal government collects oil. And you know, those of us from the minorities, we have always argued marginalization is a kind of oppression by the majority tribes. That is why derivation formula changed from 50% derivation in the First Republic to up to 1.5% during Shagari's administration, up to what we have today as that. And if you look at physical federalism in Nigeria, and you look at the various commissions that they set up to look at how money will be divided, either the Dina Commission or the Raceman Commission or Okigbo Commission, you will discover that they introduce all kinds of nebulous concept of population, concept of landmass, different things in order to distribute the resources of the country. But the way forward is for us to know that heterogeneity is not a disadvantage, it's an advantage. That is why you see countries like Australia, countries like Canada, countries like the United States, and even in the United Kingdom, they have green passports. They give people, they want more people to come because diversity is strength. What we have failed to do in Nigeria is our capacity to manage diversity so that we will enjoy the benefits of diversity. And that is where leadership comes in again. If we have the correct leadership that understand what needs to be done, then diversity will be managed better. Because if you look at it, every one state, the smallest state in Nigeria, has population that is more than 50 countries, 50 small countries in the world.
Yes. Yes.
There are countries with population of less than 1 million, of 1 million, of 2 million, of 3 million. There is no state in Nigeria that is less than 2 million. So a state in Nigeria can actually, perform as a country. That is why I've always argued that the sub-national government must up their games. The state government must up their game. There is no reason why a state government should be running on a 3-point agenda, on a more agenda, without a comprehensive development plan for developing the state, because that state can actually act as a country. Again, we go to the issue of political leadership. Until we solve the problem of political leadership, the issues of federalism, the issues of insecurity, the issues of education, the issues of health, the issues of infrastructure will continue to be problematic in Nigeria.
Doctor, I am excited, and I'm sure other than the network, my audience are excited. And thank you very much. Doctor, we're going to look at, because what you just talked about now, this issue of federalism or no true federalism or this boils down to one thing from my book, is that the fact that we are relying on one source of income, which is oil. Now, the past two presidents, Buhari started it. He said it's Minister of Petroleum, meaning every other ministry is not important. Tinubu came, he's still the Minister of Petroleum, because that's the only source of income Nigeria is relying on, which is a shame. Holland, they're making $100 billion from export of agri products. Their land is not as big as Niger State. They're not. And Delta State have the potential to, like you rightly said, have the population, the potential to develop, to grow on its own. Forget even the little money coming from now to the state is enough for us to cultivate the land and make us a great state. That's not the case. Are they waiting for that true federalism before they grow the state they are governing? That's just, the question that goes to the governor. Or where are we? Is it the same issue we have, that of leadership, that we don't have the right people running the affairs of the states? Where are we, sir?
Yes, like we said earlier, everything rises and falls on leadership. So leadership is a key issue. The case of Delta is a special case, and it is really very painful that some of us are from Delta, and we are seeing the kind of governance that we are seeing in the state. If you look at the 2023 budget of Ekiti State, Ekiti is a state in southwest Nigeria.
Yes.
2023 budget of Ekiti State, the total budget was 113 billion naira. But the budget of Delta State was 726 billion naira in 2023. About 7 times the budget of Ekiti State. But if you go to Ekiti State, you will not see a child sitting on the floor to learn. You will not see a school without computer. So, in fact, I don't like discussing Delta issue.
We have to.
We have to.
That is one of the first states in Nigeria.
Yes, it's depressing. So it's depressing. It's squarely failure of leadership. Because you see, government, the main purpose of government is security and welfare of the citizens. And every government, the normal thing every state, federal, state, and local government should do, the first thing they should do after winning an election, based on their promises, is to develop a plan, a development plan for the state. In fact, states like Kaduna and states like Ekiti, they have 25 years and 30-year development plan that is revised every 5 years.
Yes.
And your annual budget is drawn from that plan.
Exactly.
And any state that wants to develop must focus on 4 areas if he wants to improve the quality of living of his citizens. The 4 areas are education, health, agriculture, and infrastructure. And then you put a machinery in place to do budget that will prioritize it, and a machinery to translate the budget into services through the ministries, departments, and agencies. And you put in place a monitoring and evaluation system to ensure that the money is used for what it's meant. These are simple things that any normal leader should be able to do. But we are not having that in Delta. That's why we are having the underdevelopment that we have in Delta State.
And this is sad. This is sad. It's sad. And you can imagine that still the same story. The same story. Oh, they construct roads. The last governor of Delta State was a roadmaster. I was crying. Nobody listened to me. And now this one is a more agenda to construct more roads. And that's what we see. The governor collects money. He pays salary. He constructs road. The rest are what? Is that vision? Is like in a state that is up to a country of its own, the budget is enough. Look, let me put it this way. The governor of Lagos State came out on a television station in the United Kingdom And he made it categorically clear that the budget of Lagos State is higher than that of Kenya. Lagos have a GDP higher than that of Kenya. So, and there is Lagos is a state in Nigeria. Somebody governing Lagos is governing a country. He has everything to get to do it right. The same with Lagos. In fact, Delta State collects more money from the federal government than Lagos. Look at where we are as a people. Okay. We're not going to say we don't have enough money. Oh, yeah. They're not giving us enough, but they're giving the rest lesser than us. They are progressing. We are not. It cannot be because we don't have money. It's because something is fundamentally wrong. That doctor said is that of leadership. Doctor, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go on a quick break. When we come back, we're going to zero the remaining part of this discussion on education. Education in Nigeria. Let's go, well, because I have more we can go, but if we do that, we will not get to the end of this today. So let us go on a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to spend some few minutes on education in Nigeria. It's getting heated up in the studio, and I'm excited. I've never have an interview like this before, Doctor. I am more than excited. I'll be going back and I'll be listening to this again and again so that I can educate myself. And I'm sure Nigerians, you will be listening to this, and please educate yourself right from the least to the highest. If you are in government power, take up this interview, listen to it. Doctor has unleashed weapons that can change, that can transform our society. This is more important to me today. Thank you very much, Doctor. Let's go on a quick break. We'll be right back. Doctor, stay with us.
Find your sanctuary in the heart of the city. Live the life you deserve in an exquisite apartment. Srtv Luxury Shortlet Apartment, Lagos, is a place where your comfort is rest assured. Welcome to Srtv Shortlet Apartment, part of the prestigious Srtv Real Estate family. Why choose us? Prime location, nestled in the heart of Lagos, close to key attractions, business hubs, and vibrant nightlife. Modern interiors, fully furnished, stylish apartments designed to provide the ultimate comfort. Luxury redefined, vacation perfected. 24/7 security. Enjoy peace of mind with round-the-clock security and CCTV surveillance. Top-notch amenities, high-speed Wi-Fi, smart TV, air conditioning, fully equipped kitchen, and lots more. Perfect for business travelers, family vacations, romantic getaways, special events, and more. Book your stay today and experience Lagos like never before. Call +234 8143 582856 or +447 4388 93190, or email us at realestate@superiorradiotelevision.com. Srtv Shortlet Apartment, where comfort meets luxury.
Welcome back, people. If you're just joining us, this is State of the Nation, and I am with Dr. OTIVE IGBUZOR. He's the founding executive director of the African Center for Leadership, Strategies, and Development. We've been talking about very important things, and he has educated us a lot. And I said, for the purpose of this interview, we're going to zero any part of it on education in Nigeria. This is so important to me. Doctor, in the United Kingdom today, the education system has been, I'll call it a revolution, experienced a revolution over the past few days. Okay, I'm just, I'm going to have Doctor back. I'm not going to do this alone. It's not one of those interviews you do alone. It's not one of those. I'm in the State of the Nation and I'm with Doctor. He's going to join me right back, and we're going to talk about education in Nigeria. I pray he comes back on time. And if you just missed this part of this, please go back. Yes, the video might not be what you want to see, but the message is clear from Doctor. He has educated us on agreeing with, of course, with our famous writer, Chinua Achebe, that the problem of Nigeria is that of leadership. I don't want to use the quote completely. Doctor can do all because doctor can put them verbatim. That's the kind of intellect we have on the studio today. And when he talks about the Constitution, he talks with date, and he will tell you everything. You need to go back and listen to the show. But I really want to spend the remaining few minutes we have on this show to talk about education in Nigeria, and it is crucial. And I want to move it to him. When he comes back, I'm going to let him know that in the United Kingdom, we have a problem. We have a problem. During the time of Tony Blair, it comes to a point where the government realized that there's going to be one way out. We need a change in the education sector. It wasn't popular, but it was done. Today, education in the UK, especially higher education, is a different story. I'm going to be sharing that with Dr. IGBUZOR when he joins me. And the network is not very friendly, but I know he will join me soon. And I can't wait to have him back. Yes, Doctor is right back. Doctor, you're welcome back. Welcome back, Doctor. The network is not friendly, but it's okay. Doctor, can you hear me? Doctor, can you hear me now? Hello, Doctor. Hello, Doctor, can you hear me? Right, it's like Doctor can still not hear me. I'm waiting for Doctor. Doctor, can you hear me? All right. Okay, Doctor is right here with me. He's here. We need to have this discussion because it's an integral part of this debate. It is very, very important. For the first time, I am listening and I'm listening and I'm listening and I'm learning and I'm learning and I'm learning. I wish Doctor will be right here. The network will be stable. That is some of the challenges we face when we are in Africa. But Doctor is joining me right now from Nigeria and has been talking excellently. He has talked about the progression, the kind of leaders we've had to date. He made it clear that the problem is the right people are no more interested in politics. And they agree that they got it wrong. Nobody believed that the current dispensation was going to last because, you know, from one change to the other, when the military comes, they will just kick the civilians out. So nobody wanted to waste their resources and say, I wanted to contest. And that is how some, I don't want to call them riffraff, some guys have managed to sneak themselves into power. Now they've got hold of it. Because that's what power is. Now they got hold of the power because they got the resources. They now have the tentacles to change things. You see what happened? It was an act of God to move Edo State, which is something I would like to talk with Doctor to end this show. I'm going to end it talking about Edo, the recent election that happened in Edo State. We all saw what happened. Yes, both parties play their games. I can say categorically clear that the PDP were not clean because for Obaseki to have used it, Doctor back. Let me see. It's like I have you back, Doctor. Doctor, can you hear me now?
Yeah, yes, I'm back.
Thank God, thank God. Yes. Doctor, I was just saying that education has experienced, especially higher education in the United Kingdom, has experienced a dramatic change during the time of Tony Blair. I witnessed it myself. And there was a lot of protest. But today, the education sector in the United Kingdom is now generating 50 billion pounds per annum. And that is about 100 trillion naira today. Our budget, Nigerian budget this year, which is the record high, is 27 trillion. Whereas only education will generating 3 times that money. Actually 4. So I'm getting confused here. Here in Nigeria, as we are preparing to go on strike as we speak, they want to go on strike. For what? Because they're not well paid. Doctor, let's start from there. Because I know you're going to tell us the importance of education, but let's just look at this development, this sustainability. Before we say this, Doctor, when I was in secondary school, the guy that taught us chemistry was one Joseph John from Pakistan. The guy that taught me additional mathematics was Chanjahan from India. That means that far back then, there was an education system that was working, that in my village, we were able to attract people from India and we were paying them. Today, I'm sure we can't even have education at the highest level in Nigeria. Are we progressing or are we going back? That is what I want Doctor to talk us through. Kai, the network won't let us. What is true? Okay, Doctor. I don't know whether you heard all I said, Doctor. Doctor, did you hear me? I'm sure the network would have, because at the point in time it froze up, and I can understand that. All right, Doctor, I can repeat what I said. Are you there, Doctor?
Okay.
Yes.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, let me repeat what I just said. Let me try. I cut it. I don't want to make my lesson too long. I said education, higher education in the UK today is generating 50 billion. In Nigeria, also the intellectuals in the society who are supposed to contribute to society greatly, they are begging for peanut salaries and they want to go on strike. Meaning the schools are not making money. How do we get here? Oh my God, Dr. Casti cannot hear me. All right. Network is not friendly with us tonight, and we need to find a way to repeat this show on a better day. I wish I could sit down with Doctor in Nigeria and get this better to you. If we have this kind caliber of human being, that's all I'm going to say before Doctor comes back. And we have the kind of leadership we have in Delta State now, something is wrong with us. Either Doctor refuse to come out or we refuse to listen. Either Doctor refuse to come out or we in Delta State refuse to listen. You don't have a resources like this one, like Doctor, and you're suffering. This is the thing with Nigeria. God has given us everything we need to survive. Every little thing. If you have the right human being and you are so blessed with natural resources, what are you looking for? What do you want God to do for you? In Delta State, if you say you don't have people, look at Dr. IGBUZOR is from Delta State. Have you listened to him speak? That is all I can say. It's either you people in Delta State are not listening or Doctor refused to come out. Either case, we get to resolve that before the end of the show. Doctor have to come out and you people have to listen so that we can move from where we are to the next level. I am not the one talking. Some of the things Doctor is talking about are alien to me because he has the knowledge. When you have it, you have it. Oh God. I wish this network can come out and we can finish this discussion and really end it well. Well, all I'm going to say is I am concerned as a Nigerian. I am very disturbed as somebody from Delta State in particular, that with all these resources, with all these human resources, with all the natural resources, we are still where we are. It's unacceptable. And I want to say this. I wish Doctor can put in his own little input, especially on the education sector, and have a message for those in ASU who might be going on strike shortly. I agree with ASU that you guys are not well paid. But is the solution? Are you proposing the right solution to the problem? That's my question. And the question, maybe only Doctor can convince me. Doctor might be able to educate me again because he has educated me a lot this evening. He might be able to convince me otherwise. Otherwise, ASU should be making money. Nigerian universities, the private universities are making a lot of money. The federal, the state or the federal universities are behind. They are hungry. And if you look at the amount of resources, like in the University of Benin, UNILAG, UI, those resources are unique. Have you been to UNN? You drive in that place like a village. You have the best and the best in that place. And yet, we don't have salaries. Have we refused to cultivate our own land like we refuse to cultivate Nigeria? Are you guys ministers of petroleum too, like Tinubu? That's what I'm asking. Maybe Nigerian universities are similar to Tinubu. They are all ministers of petroleum. Doctor, are you back, Doctor? In fact, we cannot end this show.
Yes, I'm back. I'm back.
Okay, good. Thank you very much, sir. So my question is just the education sector. Let me put it simple now. Nigerians are fond of taking the office of the Minister of Petroleum by not working, because Tinubu could have generated a lot of money from agriculture. Holland is making a lot of money, 100 billion US dollars from agri export. Holland is not as big as Niger State. But Nigeria have all these things. Our president choose to be Minister of Petroleum. Now, the same thing is applicable now. I might argue that it's applicable to the Nigerian universities who could have made a lot of money, but they're sitting there waiting for the government to pay salaries, and they're going on strike daily. Whereas universities in the United Kingdom generate 50 billion, 3 times Nigerian annual budget. Oh my God. All right, now, the network, I should be crying, because I should be crying network today. I should be crying. I should be crying. You see, just before doctor comes back, let me put this people. You know, this is the scene, very beautiful scene. I know this is not from this government. This is from the past. You know, this is a very familiar scene in Nigeria. You guys will agree with me. Let me show you. ASU always on strike. If you go to school in Nigeria, if it's a 4 years program, be prepared to spend 7 years. Who did this to us? That even the university lecturers who are supposed to show us the ways are now among those going on strike. Doctor need to talk to us. Doctor need to educate us. Doctor, I won't repeat myself. I know you heard me, doctor. Can you hear me, doctor?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Yes, doctor.
I didn't hear everything you said, but I know you are talking about the challenges of the education sector.
Yes.
I think the first point to make is that education is very crucial for the development of any country. Yes. That most development in this
it's very unfortunate that the network
and countries that want to accelerate their development must prioritize education. The first thing about prioritizing education is to make adequate budgetary allocation to education. One of the problems we have in Nigeria is that there is no adequate budgetary allocation to education. The percentage of budgetary allocation in Nigeria is like Rwanda, like Ethiopia, like Republic of Benin. Education more than 10%. And if you go to other countries like Brazil and even the developed countries, their budgetary allocation to education is more than 20-30%. Another key problem with education is relevance of the curriculum. You know, I cannot forget the first lecture that I received in primary 6 on social studies is why a dark continent for a long time. And the first statement was that Africa is considered a dark continent because it is not known to the Europeans. So you are teaching African students in Nigeria that their continent
is not known, it's not relevant to who.
And you know, we're all taught that Mungo Park discovered River Niger.
I know.
The word discover is to find something that is new.
Yes.
River Niger has always been with.
But our people were there.
Europeans.
Our people were in River Niger.
But Mungo Park couldn't have discovered River Niger for us in Nigeria.
Exactly.
And then, of course, the issue of connecting education to livelihood and connecting education to development. You know, is
I know with doctor, I would have been able to explore the issue of the Nigerian curriculum. That's where we're going. And I'm going to see the economy of the Nigerian education, higher education is where I wanted to start from. But this system would not allow us to talk. I don't know why. Today, it's a sad day, I must say, because I am really not very happy. But I know you guys in between, anytime the doors open, there's a message that comes in and it filters in, and I know you grab it. Well, I am not going to be able to push further. I've kept Doctor running up and down for more than an hour. It's an hour, 15 minutes into this show. I will not be in the right stream of mind, be pushing him to come back. But if he's able to come back, then we're going to just do this bit. We'll let Doctor to finish this speech. It's too important. He needs to educate us the importance of education in Nigeria. And I don't think we got that wrong. That part of it is right. Now, when Doctor talk about allocation, for education, I'm going to argue Doctor here. Yeah, Doctor, I know you were talking about the allocation, the budgetary allocation for education and the relevance of education. That's where we are. If you can just quickly round up, because I have one or two issues with that. Can you hear me, Doctor? Yes, Doctor, I can hear you loud. If you can speak out, we will hear you. All right. The network is not a friend of ours today. I don't know why. Next time we will plan a better network and do this show. I'm going to have Doctor back on this State of the Nation. This show needs to repeat itself. It's not even that the show is begging for part 2. That's all I can say. This show is begging for part 2, and that's what we're going to do. Well, Doctor has said it clearly. When we were in secondary school, the first thing, in fact, in primary 6, in primary 5 or so, they taught us that actually that somebody discovered Mungo Park. Mungo Park discovered River Niger. And the question is, our parents were already in River Niger. He discovered Mungo Park for the British, or he discovered my father. I don't understand that. But you know the funniest thing? That was what they taught us. Even the Mazikwe that went to school, I don't blame the British. The Mazikwe that went to school, that saw the curriculum, they couldn't change that. That it's not Mungo Park that discovered my father. This is an insult. And maybe we talk about relevance. It's like you're teaching British law to a Nigerian student. I'm happy, and I now see that we're, like Doctor said, we're making some progress. If you study law anywhere in the world, you must come and practice to go through the Nigerian law school, where you actually, your knowledge will now be adapted to the Nigerian state. Unfortunately, it's not so in every other part, in our sector. And maybe that is where we need to be patient and really work with it. But my concern is, how are we going to grow if the universities are always on strike? If the lecturers are crying for food, they don't have enough food. Maybe the allocation Doctor is saying is not enough. But can the university make money? Is it not true that your president is not working hard to raise enough money to fund education? If that is the case, can't you people in the education sector make money? Why are you people not making money? That was what I wanted to have. That's the discussion I wanted to have with Doctor. But it's another 2 minutes to the end of the show, so I will not be having the opportunity to do so. But my question is to ASU. I know you guys are ready to go on strike. You see this thing you carry in your neck. Let me bring you guys back. See that one I put for there. Go on strike. Nigeria belongs. In fact, Nigeria has been handed over to you. If Nigeria is going to get up from where we are now, we're going to need you guys. You are the brains of the nation. When things are hard like this, you don't have the right leadership. What you do, you look for a way out. Thank you very much. Yes, I'm listening to hear what Doctor will say about our education collapse system. In fact, thank you, everything leads. We want to have that before we close the show. We will not close the show until we hear from Doctor about the education system. Doctor, are you there? We will hear this one before we close the show.
Thank you very much.
This. Yes,
I was saying that Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now. We can hear you now, Doctor. Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir. We can hear you.
So
yes.
I was saying that education is very important in the development of. I was saying that
you see, in those days, our place, where is our brother Malcolm? we will need to go do some liberation into the ancestors so that this network will stay for just the next 10 minutes so that we can get. They don't want doctor to deliver this speech. He's gonna deliver it anyhow. You know one of those things that people don't want to hear. They don't want it to happen. It's gonna happen because we don't have a choice. This is too important. It's damn too important. We cannot allow education to be downplayed. It's useless the way it is right now. If Mongo Park discovered it in Nigeria, who discovered my father? Mongo Park discovered my father. And Awolowo and all our intellectuals, they allowed that. They taught me that. I won't allow my children to study that. It's a bad practice. And now, the question I ask is, the Nigerian education system, is it relevant to the Nigerian state? How much level of leadership? Is it the one they just pick up a textbook and teach leadership? Or we are teaching leadership in Nigeria? You see, the Nigerian leadership that is important to us today. Look at our current political system. Has our education system been adapted? Are we aware of these constitutional changes like Doctor has been talking to us now? And children are now given the right phrase, the right lecture, or the right understanding to say, hey, this constitution we have today comes from the military. And this is how we come about it. And perhaps if we're going to move to the next level, we need a true federalism. I do have issues with it because some of these states, from the way they've been governed at the moment, true federalism will not make any difference. But that would be a start. Perhaps somebody that with the right mentality will pick it up, and so perhaps let's set up the structure. Let's have a true federal states so that the federal government can run small things, have a smaller. In fact, you still to be too busy. The federal system is a bit too busy right now. Let's go back to see Doctor, whether Doctor is here. Doctor, they don't want you to give this lecture. We cannot stop without you giving us this lecture. Are you there, Doctor? Well, Doctor is right here with us, and I really want to have it before we close the show. Doctor, we want to have your take on this before we close this show. We can't stop the show without hearing what you have to say about it.
Yeah, thank you. The rain is falling heavily here. I think that's partly why the network has been very bad.
Okay, sir.
I was saying that one other issue is the relevance of education. So education must be relevant to livelihood. It's important that the tan means the gown, so that what people study in the university, in polytechnics, in other colleges, they will be able to use it not just for livelihood, but for development of society. It is a shame that development challenges are in the third world, but the schools today that you go and do development studies is in SS, Sussex, or Netherlands. So there is need for a reorganization of the educational system. And then also talk about access. There are still many people in today's 21st century that cannot read and write. And then also in terms of the quality and content of the education, the pedagogy, the method of teaching. There are many of our children, when they leave Nigeria and go even to the UK, they struggle with critical inquiry. They struggle with critical thinking. They struggle with original thinking because of the predominance of rote learning, what Paulo Ferreira called the banking concept of education, where the teacher deposits in the students, and what the student does in exam is to regurgitate back what has been deposited in them. So the pedagogy of education needs to change. The quality of education needs to change, and the relevance of education. In fact, like you mentioned, the university systems can produce a lot of money, but here it's not done because it has not been structured in a way that entrepreneurship is promoted, that ICT is used. Like in the UK, for instance, now, there is AI, teachers. They are
Yeah,
already being experimented in schools in the United Kingdom.
yes.
But here in the universities, only few individual lecturers have the capacity to use AI, or even the NGO sector to use AI. You know, today, if you don't use AI, you are backward.
Yeah,
So
what can you do
there are
without
a
AI
lot of
now?
things.
Yeah, what can we do without AI? I don't
Absolutely.
understand. Yes, what can you?
Yeah.
What
No,
can you?
but that's the point. But in Nigeria here, only a few people are utilizing AI. So we really need to overhaul the entire education system, give it the priority that it deserves, change the curriculum completely, change the method of teaching or pedagogy, make it more relevant to the people, promote some things for every student. In fact, in my view, every student should learn a lot about history, not just Nigerian history, but global
Yes,
history.
it's important.
Every student should learn a lot about ICT. Every student should learn about leadership. In fact, one of my advocacy I've been doing for quite some time is to see how leadership studies will be a course of study in tertiary institutions in Nigeria. And then, of course, entrepreneurship. Because today, no matter how intelligent you are, if you are not entrepreneurial, you will be an academic success, but an economic failure.
Exactly.
So it's key
That,
that
perhaps would you say that that is, doctor? Is that not the case with the Nigerian university right now? The academic success, entrepreneur, they're failing because for a university lecturer, I always say to them, "How can you be intelligent and you are poor?" It doesn't add up in my book. Intelligent people shouldn't be poor. Meaning, a
in this
home
world,
of intellectuals shouldn't be poor.
where you can stay in Nigeria
Yes.
and earn dollars from US and earn pounds sterling from the UK, how can
Yes.
you be intelligent and poor?
And the poor.
It's a contradiction in terms.
It
But
is.
it's because of the banking concept of education that people are not able to utilize the opportunities provided by ICT, the opportunities provided by internet, that any profession you are, any consulting you are doing, the world is.
It's now a global village. I agree. I agree. Most of the lecturers you see these days, in fact, all the universities in UK, they need lecturers. Nigerians, you are at an advantage because they have the high shortage of lecturers here. And funny enough, because they have a good name, they're going to continue to attract students. The student might come from Nigeria, and the lecturer might come from Nigeria, but the UK university is in the United Kingdom. May God help us. We have a problem. And I said, oh, doctor needed to talk to us on that. The lecturer is from Nigeria.
Thank you.
The students are from Nigeria, but the university is in the United Kingdom. Where are we? Where do we get this wrong, doctor? The lecturer is a Nigerian. The students are Nigerians, but the university is here in the United Kingdom. Who did this to us?
It's colonial mentality. It's colonial mentality. So one of the things we're actually promoting is decolonization. The way to, because if you look at it, sir, you will discover that there's a lot of colonial mentality. And that is why in my place, Uroboland, if your child is very good, you will say, Omo mena oyibo. That means this my child is a white man.
Exactly.
That's the conception that whatever is white is good, you know. And so there need to be decolonization. If you look across Africa, even if you look at our conception of beauty, you know, for an African woman to be beautiful, the hair must be coiling. You must spray the hair. You cannot leave your natural African hair as a woman, and you will be conceived to be beautiful.
Yes.
You know, and you know, for even people who try to protest against it and leave their low cut, just wait till they are 40. They want to celebrate 40th birthday or 50th or 60th. The society will force you to go and wear wig so that their conception of the world about beautiful which is that of a Caucasian heir, will become a reality.
Exactly.
And so, you know, Western knowledge is privileged over local knowledge. Western theories are privileged, Eurocentric positions are privileged over Afrocentric positions. So these are colonial mentality that our educational system needs to be able to remove completely from our curriculum and from our thinking, from our thought, and from our action.
Thank you very much, Doctor. Before we run away from you, before we let you go to bed, Doctor, thank you very much. But just tell us, what is your take on just the past election in Edo State? Because this is now the new, is it the new Nigeria? The election was, in my book, a big shame. I want to start with Obaseki, who managed, because during the last election, Peter Obi, which is the Labour Party, won the state. But during the local government election, it all went to PDP. PDP was able to grab it all because the man there, Obaseki, was in charge. He got it all. Now it's like the bigger power came this time and they take it over from him. So is this the new Nigeria? In the Nigeria of the 21st century, the leadership or the political system of the 21st century Nigeria, children of history will be crying. I don't know whether they will be happy with us or they will be very disappointed with us. Doctor.
No, you know, sir, if you look at it very well, the first election that took place in Nigeria was after the Clifford Constitution of took place in Nigeria was in 1923, where there were elections in Calabar and Lagos into the Legislative Council. And since there have been several elections in Nigeria after the Richards Constitution of 1946, after the McPherson Constitution of 1951, after the Legislative Constitution of 1954, and then the independence election, the 1959 elections, and then the 1965 elections in Western region, and then of course
young people, are you aware of all this constitutional trend? How we have? Do you see how Doctor is giving it to us? The election, the constitutions we have, children of history. What do you know, kids? It's important. You need to listen to Doctor. This is the kind of thing we're talking about. Delta State, what have you done with this potential? Okay? I am weeping. Doctor, the network won't let us talk. Oh, this rain. Today, we're going to do this show another day. All right. I just want to hear what Doctor have to say on this. But everything is saying that Edo people made their choice, and I hear a lot of them saying they can't vote a visitor regardless of his prowess. What a shame. What a shame. So you're not voting the right person because
there has been a lot of reforms of the electoral.
I wish we can really spend the next 3 minutes, because the interview is over, but I just cannot leave as it is now. This is not a way to end the show. Everything leads, I agree with you. The people of Edo State, they can't vote a visitor. Who is a visitor? Is an Edo indigene? Is he not? How is he a visitor? That's the thing I don't understand. You know, that's how the political guys will always want to class their opponent. He is a visitor. He doesn't know the place. Is he an Edo indigene? Question is yes or no. What is he offering them? You know, sometimes those guys, like what Doctor started with, those people with the right mentality, with the right skill to run the affairs of the state, they need to come up with a strategy to win. They need to come with a strategy to win. And maybe because they can communicate better than these other guys. If you see, during the last election, Peter was communicating better. I don't want to use it because I don't have a side. I shouldn't be taking any side here. But I'm very convinced that the intellect or those we are expecting, the right people who take over power, they communicate better. Maybe they should be communicating more. Now, and that's what we're going to do. Yeah, doctor, yes.
Hello. So I was saying that as today in Nigeria, there are two main problems with elections. First is collation. You will see that in the Edo State elections, it was largely peaceful. People came out, they voted, the unit results were gotten, but it's at the level of collation that there's problem. Then the second problem is vote buying.
Yes.
Vote buying has become a dominant feature. So I think that it is these two areas that we need to direct our attention, and to also make sure that BVAS is key, that you don't do any elections without utilizing BVAS. So there is need for electoral reform, there is need to address vote buying, and there is need to address collation. If there is electronic transmission of results, then future elections will definitely be better.
Thank you very much, Doctor. I cannot thank you enough. I cannot thank you. I cannot hold on. Doctor, I'm going to have this interview with you again. Another day, more prepared, so that we have a better network. We need you to rock another floor with us. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you very much.
That will be very fine. Or you just send a private jet to pick me up to London.
Yes, sir. If we can do that, it would be nice. It would be nice. It would be nice, sir. It would be so nice, because we should be sitting down in the studio, rubbing shoulder and talking about this better. Thank you so much for your time, Doctor.
Don't worry. Anytime I come to London, I will let you know.
Definitely, sir. You don't come to London without being on this studio. We're going to just, in fact, it will be every day on your time, your stay, sir. We have you here. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to have you tonight, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. So, hey, you guys, you heard it all. I don't need to say it. If you go back to this interview, you heard Doctor. Doctor is not only a historian. I don't understand. I don't know the right word to qualify this man, but you heard him. All I'm going to ask Delta State is, do you know he's from Delta State? Do you know we're blessed? Have you really tapped on this potential? From today, I'm going to tap on it. I'm not like every other thing, but I see him as a potential governor who can actually help to raise the state. What have we done to ourselves? I'm confused. What have we done to ourselves?
I tried to contest in 2015.
Are you serious, Doctor?
I tried to contest in 2015, yes.
2015.
I tried to contest in 2015.
These guys, no, 2015.
I was in the race in 2015.
Oh, yes. 2015, sir.
I contested for governorship in 2015, but I couldn't get the nomination of the party.
OMG. Under which party, sir? Because then they will win Ogboru in his home.
Under All Progressives Congress. Under All Progressives Congress.
I see. Then you were not that strong then. 2015 was during that. Okay. What a shame. Because they were
eventually the candidate.
Then they were writing results at home, sir. They write it at home. Now things are better. Yeah, things are better. Like you rightly said.
In fact, even the process of the primaries was still the same thing. The process of Congress and primaries. Because that's why I say, although you have many people, many good people, participating in politics, we will always continue to get it wrong.
Yes. Doctor, you see, the young man is saying we have to have you on this show again, please, Doctor. We have to have you on the show.
My pleasure. Again. I hope that the network will be much better then. But I'm always available, especially for anything that will promote Roboland and Delta States.
Delta State, yes. Thank you very much, Doctor. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure. Welcome. It's a pleasure. Like I was saying, people, you got Doctor. I just can't cut. Now the network is better, but we spend too much time. I can't be putting Doctor through this anymore. So we're closing the show right now, and we're going to have Doctor back. I will let you all know when I'll have Doctor again. But I'm really going to use this opportunity to ask those of us. Doctor said two important things, and I really want to take away from here. That those who are qualified, those who are in the right position to move our society forward, they are behind. They don't want to come out. And until they come out, there's nothing we're going to do. So we need to beg you guys to come out. We will encourage them. And when they come out, please do not ask money from them. They are the people that will not give you money. because they're coming to work for you. They're not coming. They're not going to buy your vote. That the doctor ended this show by telling us that there are two problems in Nigeria election today. One is now they cannot do much with the beavers. A lot of things have been sorted out, but with the when they counting, that is where they change the result in Jesus' name. But anyway, let's hope that can be addressed soon. So those of you who can make society better, please don't stay behind. Come out. Come out. Like Doctor said, I always use the word, but Doctor has said it, for evil to exist, righteous men are busy doing nothing. Please come out, we'll work with you. And like I believe, trust Nigerians that when you tell us the right thing, we will support your campaign. We don't need money. Peter Obi is an example. Peter was not the best candidate in the world, but we were supporting him because he was actually telling us he's not going to give us money. And he didn't. But did we vote for him or not? So Nigerians' kids are not stupid. In this new era, once we can eliminate vote buying and we really, truly sort out the correlation of the results so that what we vote is what they announce. It's what INEC announced. We need to change INEC, of course. So there's that reform. If we have that, I'm sure more people will be encouraged to participate. And we need them to participate so that we can move the society forward. We can make as much noise as we want. We want people in power. With the right people in power, we're going to move forward. That's where I end the show today. Thank you very much for joining the show. My name is KRIS, and it's a pleasure having Doctor on the platform. I promise you, I'm bringing him back on a better day when there will be no rain in Nigeria, because the rain is the problem today. Guys, go home. You know, tomorrow is another working day. I want you guys to rest so you have more time to do what you do tomorrow. I say stay out of trouble. Believe in Nigeria. Believe in Nigeria is important. We've come up, we made some progress, to be fair. Because in those days, they just write the result at home. I remember Agboru, they win Agboru in his village, in Delta State. So, which is almost impossible. It's mathematically impossible, but it was happening. They would just write the result at home. It's not the same anymore. So, in as much as some of these guys have control over it, it's gradually waiting. Things going to happen differently. And if we all come in now and participate, educate us, bring people like Doctor out, let Doctor come out and talk to Nigerians. You need to talk to Nigerians, Doctor. People like Doctor need to talk to Nigerians so that the way they talk in the church, that's how we will talk in the importance of government. I'm going to repeat this. My job is to talk about the importance of government, what government can do for you. That's what the pastors are doing. In the church, it's a different story. They tell you how God is going to save your life, which is fine. I know we're all going to go to heaven. But I'm here to tell you what the government can do to make your life better, because I've lived in a society where an effective government made my life a success. It's not because of my power. It's not because of what I've done right. It's because I live in a society that is successful. And I wish my country is the same. And I will do everything I can to raise our awareness any day, anytime. Thank you, Doctor, for joining me. And thank you all for staying with me tonight. Once again, my name is KRIS, and this is the state of the nation. Stay out of trouble. God bless you. And God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Srtv. Innovative content.